It's a great pleasure to be here in Trivandrum Management Association in the flagship event of the year. I thank the Trivandrum Management Association for giving this opportunity. In fact, all the three speakers have highlighted various issues with respect to transparency and governance. Now, to understand the governance in the country today, you have to understand the four important aspects. Governance is just not about the government. Governance is there in the government. It is there in the organization. It is there in the academic institution. It is also there in the political parties. To understand this, basically today, India is just not getting transformed. It is actually undergoing a tremendous change, structural change, which is going to be an asset for the youth today. We should not judge this government from the past 1 year reforms. You should judge the performance of the government from the day they got elected. If you look at Honorable Prime Minister, when he took charge in 2014, he actually reformed the Planning Commission into Niti Aayog. Many people actually forget this fact. Niti Aayog is the first institution in India replacing the Planning Commission to promote or blossom the cooperative federalism, where the Prime Minister became the chairperson of the Niti Aayog, in which the state government and the central government will sit together and understand the problems as a team India and work on those problems. This is the first change he brought from the government side. This brought a greater level of governance in understanding the state government as well as the central government issues. Post this, he also brought something called Pragati. Pragati is nothing but proactive governance and timely implementation. It's a multi-purpose, multi-model platform for the digital data management, and through video conferencing, he started interacting with the state government chief secretaries and the secretaries of the central government, and also geospatial. This is one of the transformational reform which the central government brought. And if you look at the cooperative federalism is a modern tool available today in India. You might think that what is the use of this cooperative federalism? Today the entire reform of the GST is through the cooperative federalism. We all talk about the four-rate structure, what India has adopted. It is not because of the compulsion. It is not because of a choice. It is because India badly requires tax revenue. When you look at the tax revenue in India today, it is only 3% of the population who pay taxes, and we have to feed 130 crore population. The irony is, today 3% of the population pay taxes, but more than the taxpayer, there are BMWs and Audis in India. How is it possible? This is a paradoxical question which the policymakers should understand, and these are the things that puts into the question how the governance actually got transformed. Post implementation of this Niti Aayog and Pragati, every month the Prime Minister meets with and video conferences with his chief secretaries and secretaries of the government. And also that, if you look at the digital India today brought by the government, we may criticize it, we may actually say this is not effective. But I'm very happy that reform has started with respect to digital India. In 2014, where it was only 400 kilometers high-speed optical fiber, today it is about 250,000 kilometers where the high-speed optical fiber has been implemented in India, laid in India. And through digital India, the reforms that is taking place today is multifold. The one more important reform which has taken place from the perspective of the government is reforming these post offices. Many people felt this post office became redundant. But it was one person from Hyderabad, an accountant, wrote to the Prime Minister in mygov.in. This mygov.in is a people participatory governance process brought by the present government in central level, where if you have a policy to be reformed, you can write in the mygov.in, it directly goes to the Prime Minister office, they filter it and take up your suggestion. Likewise, one of the accountants from Hyderabad wrote to the Prime Minister's office and said, why can't we revive back these post offices? Because post office is a great network of India. And because there are about 1,38,000 post offices and we have about 6,60,000 villages, these post offices are actually a good plan for the financial inclusion. If you remember very well, in your school days, your teacher would have taught how to open a post office saving bank account. And this post offices, using this idea, was converted into small bank. You may ask me, what is the relation between the digital India and the the small bank, that is the post offices, I'm sure in the 5 years down the line, when India is going to reach $5 trillion economy, 65% of the offtake of e-commerce business is going to be from rural India. This is one of the greatest transformation from the perspective of the governance angle, where the government has actually played a major role in reforming all these things. Not only that, one more important reform which I wanted to highlight even before I get into the other aspects of the governance. If you look at the past 70 years, 69 plus years, we have been funding to the top corporates, and the NPAs have mounted to about 8 trillion rupees and 8 lakh crores. It is 8 lakh crores, but we never went on to fund the last mile citizen. When a last mile citizen went to the bank, they never were received inside the bank. And these were aspiring entrepreneurs who wanted loans, who just needed some 10,000 or 15,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees or lakh rupees. But these people were never funded in a formal channel. I did a survey in one of the vegetable market in Chennai, Coimbatore market. When I did a survey, I found that people are under that informal channel of financing, and on a daily basis, when I calculated, they pay 4,000% interest for the loan what they get. That's called Kandu Vaddi, Meter Vaddi, Speed Vaddi. And the government never went on to fund these people. And government was thoughtful. It was my professor, Professor Kanaga Sabapathy from Coimbatore, who gave the suggestion to the Prime Minister, and Prime Minister immediately took up this idea called Mudra Bank. Mudra is funding the unfunded. Today, you see the Punjab National Bank scam which has happened for 11,000 crore. Today, if 11,000 crore is there in my country to the last mile citizen, everybody would get employment. Everybody would become self-employed. But we are funding these corporates. But what has happened? There is a failure in payment. Not only scams also happen. But today, I'm proud to say, from 2015 onwards, when the Mudra has come, it has been funded for 10 crore people, and 4,60,000 crores has been funded. Where did I get this data? I did not write an RTI. It is there in the website of Mudra. This is the kind of a transparency we have in data today. And this is transforming India because the people who have availed the Mudra scheme is about 76% of the population, the people who availed is women entrepreneur. And 50% of the people out of the total people who availed the loan as Dalit entrepreneur, or economically backward Dalit entrepreneur, who are availed it for their livelihood creation. In my country, more than people becoming rich, what is important is uplifting the livelihood of the people, taking the people out of the poverty line. Today we have about 400 million people who are below the poverty line. And these people have to be engaged in the productive activity. I'm sure these kind of remodeling in the government's agenda will ensure that the citizen gets empowered. And from the effectiveness point of view, the Digital India has not reached to the last mile citizen yet, but in the pathway of reaching. It will not reach immediately. We are expecting too much from the government, because any government for that matter, it will take years. And what stops the government from implementing it? It is purely bureaucracy. I did not say this. It is even when the Israel Prime Minister came to India, he said both India and Israel are working together to think through how to cut the bureaucracy. And why bureaucracy is also suffering? Not because they don't want to do, but because they have a constraint from the perspective of economy, efficiency, and proprietary. They are answerable to CNAG. So when there is a kind of a system in place, the effectiveness and efficiency and proprietary aspects stalls the project. And in fact, I was just interacting with some of the bankers. I asked them, why is this 8 lakh crores NPA came? They said it is not because of the consumer financing. It is not because they finance the vehicle. It is because of the infrastructure financing. If you take out the infrastructure financing, the NPAs are very less. That means to create infrastructure through PPP model only, we have incurred the NPAs primarily. So these are some of the changes in the government which are welcoming. I also request all the students here especially to look at the model what Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, has created with respect to governance. He calls it as real-time governance. And today morning, I was just looking at his website, and I look at his website every day, because every 1 hour, 2 days, 1 week, the website gets updated with the social data. And it is a real-time governance. How many people are in government school? How many people have availed the schemes of the government? Everything is updated immediately. It's a dashboard he can see it and the people also can see it. It's a model that India should adopt. This is the model India should adopt. And coming back to your Kerala, I saw that Kerala government is also proactive in adopting the e-governance systems. I saw something called Akshaya centers, which is already flourishing in Kerala. Many people outside Kerala believe Kerala is not developed. But only when they come here, they'll understand Kerala is much more developed than any other state in the country. And the amount of digitization happening in Kerala is also remarkable. That means the agenda of the central government as well as the state government is to make country digital. And when country is going to be digital, it's an opportunity because of JAM. Jandan, Aadhaar and mobile. The Jandan account today is about 31 crore. Families are connected to Jandan account. When 31 crore families are connected, effectively it is 90 crore people who are connected. 90 crore people are connected because each family will have multiple people, 2 or 3 people, they are all connected in the bank account. India today is a banked economy. And Aadhaar card is about 115 crore. Yes, there are issues in linking it. I'm not denying that fact. People who are afraid to link are the people who don't want to be transparent. The people who are afraid to link are the people who are not transparent. And the government, from the government perspective also, they have to still improve the infrastructure because they show that as a reason. So there are both aspects which has to be improved. And third important thing is the mobile connection. India is now moving towards 500 million people who are using the mobile. It's one of the greatest infrastructure that we have today. Not just the government's effort, but the people's effort as well who are using it. And these are some of the reforms that the government is bringing. And to ensure that the citizen gets empowered on all these governance and digital aspects, government has launched actually something called National Digital Literacy Mission, through which they're trying to educate all the people how to use the mobile and computers. But nevertheless, this is not effective. Still it has to reach. And most important thing, we expect the government to implement everything. Who is the government? Government is what we elect. And Prime Minister or one of the few ministers or the chief ministers or the minister in the state cannot change the ecosystem in place. There requires a people participation. It requires people's participation, it requires academic institution participation and industry's participation in building the infrastructure of the nation. When I went to Taiwan, I saw that the people there are more trustworthy because trust is a culture there. And transparency and governance is the term where there is no culture of transparency. So the point what I'm driving here is, and that governance should become the culture of pride more than imposing it through laws and regulation. Laws and regulation cannot ensure that the governance can be in place. How many ever laws you bring? We had Companies Act 1956, still Satyam scam happened. We had banking norms now, still Punjab National Bank scam happened. We have so many audits of the CNAG, still scams happen in the government. Look at the book written by Mr. Vinod Roy. The book, Vinod Roy's book is just not an account. You'll understand how many governance issues has taken place in the government. So it's very clear, it is not about the laws, it is not about the rules, it is not about the guidelines, it is about the culture that the nation should follow. That's what APJ Abdul Kalam used to say. When there is a righteousness in the heart, there is a beauty in character. When there is a beauty in character, there is a harmony in the home. When there is a harmony in the home, there is a order in the nation. And when the order is in the nation, automatically corruption and transparency will come. This is the vision that the government and academia and industry should adopt. Coming back to the political system, in fact, the most intransparent, rather the non-transparent institution is a political party. And political party, the funding, the way they operate, everything has to be reformed. In fact, just the way we pay today cess, probably when India reaches to tax buoyancy ratio reaches very good and very well and excellent, and later point of time when the debt to GDP ratio comes down, probably the government should impose, after increasing the tax base and reducing the tax rate, they should impose something called election tax, and the government of India should fund for the election and it should move to the next level of governance. We cannot live with this kind of democracy what we have today, which is created out of the corrupt political parties get elected and we expect them to be free of corruption, which can never happen in this nation. So first important thing that need to be done is to ensure there is a governance in the political system, political party. There should be a tiers created, there should be remuneration should be there for the people who are in the political party. There are things which need to be brought in, it's a separate discussion. Coming back to the last important thing, Coming back to the academic institution, I always ask people, why should an academic institution should be in trust model? Why should it be in the trust model? Why can't it be in the corporate form? And people go dumbstruck, I don't get answers. And today, we have crores of rupees parked in academic institution. The question is only one thing. If the academic institutions are not transparent, how can you expect the students who come from the academic institution to be transparent? And how can you expect the better governance, or rather good governance, and where there is a question of great governance? So with this, I conclude with the message of Swami Vivekananda. Today the government is aspiring to create new India. I was just looking at what is this new India all about. We all talk about accumulation of wealth, where 3% of the population in India accumulate more than 70% of the wealth in India. And balance of the people only have few wealth left. But what is this new India all about? Swami Vivekananda said it was a message to the 21st century. He said, let new India arise. Let her arise out of the peasant's cottage, grasping the plough, out of the huts of the fishermen, the cobbler, the sweeper. Let her emanate from the factory, from the marts, from the markets, from the groves and forest, from hills and mountains. My India is not about the rich. My India is about building or reaching to the last mile citizen in the nation and empowering him and taking him out of the poverty. This government or any government, the issues of the governance should be addressed to address that last mile citizen in the nation. If that is addressed, every problem in the nation will rectify. I'm sure these things are taken very seriously by the government, and the vision what they have provided for New India, let it become a reality by 2022, and in 2030, let India become $1 trillion economy, and in 2047, when India is going to celebrate 100th year of independence, and then China is going to celebrate the Republic of China, that is 135th year of Republic of China, India should overtake China and become more transparent, and the ease of doing business and the corruption index should reduce, and we should emerge as a superpower forever. And we should get back to the prosperous days of Bharat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And I kindly request the chairperson to summarize this session. Welcome you, sir.
Interesting session. And we have a new definition of what is transparency. What is transparency? It is as simple as Priya Warrior wink in Adarlo. If there is a small boy, if there is a KG student or a primary school student in this gathering, if he goes back to his home and his mom asks, what did you learn? He will say, transparency is Priya Chechida Kannaraka. It has become as simple as that. Anyway, thanks Mr. Sanjay Thomas for very beautifully defining this. Let us give a big hand to the three speakers, Mr. Arun, Mr. Sanjay Thomas, and Mr. Sathya Kumar. They have done a wonderful job. They have gone into the several aspects of the issue of transparency and how the digital India and the various steps are transforming the Indian economy. Especially Mr. Sathya Kumar, I think, was a great supporter of the reforms and all the measures taken by the government. Yes, let me tell you, when I think some of you would have worked abroad. I had also an opportunity to work in a foreign government for 5 years in the Middle East. Let me tell you, the moment you reach the Middle East, your 10 fingerprints are taken. It is essential.